This episode contains stories of sexual teacher-student relationships. We don't condone the abuse of power or any sort of sexualizing of minors. All these stories are from people who were of legal age and fully consenting adults when the sexual relationship was formed.
I don't get it.
Podcast. Hello, ladies and a few gentlemen. Welcome to the I Don't Get It podcast. It is Ashley. It is
and Naz.
Lauren. Today's theme is I fell in love with my teacher and we hooked up or we got married. Lauren thinks I'm screaming, but it doesn't show that I'm screaming, Lauren. So this all originated because that show, Teacher. It also originated because I consider maybe sometimes that my first love was my teacher. But I do think it was my first love in my head.
No, that was complete fascination.
Okay,
and
of course
obsession.
it was in your head. Okay, fine. You know what I mean?
Possibly be in my head. It's like, obviously, you never had a relationship with it.
Okay,
Yeah,
exactly. That was the first time I fell in love with something, with an idea of somebody. Mm-hmm. Okay,
there you go.
There you go. So we'll get to that in a second. But first, Naz has an I don't get it that she's just burning to share.
Well, this isn't, I don't know if I'm burning, but I think it's silly because I more so just wanted to tell the two of you. I don't know if any listeners care, but so obviously my parents are vaccinated. They came to visit me. As you know, my parents are a lot. It's a lot of energy to be around for 3 to 4 days straight. So happy they came. So grateful. Anyways, there were a couple things that they do that I was like, I need to run this by Ashley and Lauren. The first one that I was like dying to tell you guys, it's not so much an I don't get. Well, it is an I don't get it, but like drunk dads.
Yeah.
So like my dad doesn't really drink. We go to this Italian restaurant. We order 3 glasses of wine. Me and my mom don't finish it. So my dad like finishes all 3, right? He gets in bed and he's just the loopiest, weirdest human in the entire world. He's literally has his head on. He's laying in bed and he starts mumbling. I have videos I have to show you guys. And he starts talking about Forrest Gump. He's like, Dave Chappelle turned down a lot of roles and or this role in Forrest Gump or whatever. And then he asked if there was chocolate like 20 times. He's like, does anyone have chocolate?
God. Are you sure you have an edible?
I just loopy, drunk parents are so weird.
They are so weird. Well, my mom asks a million times over, like, if we have acetone or... yeah, pasta or something. She'll repeat herself a million times.
Did you have enough to eat for dinner?
Did you eat enough? Did you eat enough? Did you eat enough? Yeah.
What time are you going to see so-and-so tomorrow? 15 minutes later.
What time are you
going to see? Yeah.
But your dad seems funny. Like, our dad gets pretty funny.
Our dad is so funny. Like, I love it when
your dad gets so funny. So it reminded me of that because he was making me, I was dying laughing. I'm like, what is he talking about? Anyways, my other I don't get it with my parents are, they take food home everywhere.
I do too.
You do too, Ashley. It bothers me so much.
Why? Why do you guys get bothered by leftovers?
If we have breakfast, like my mom will literally save everything and put it in her purse. And I'm like, Mom, when are you eating
She puts it in
that?
her purse? Like
She
the to-go bag?
Like in our hotel room, it was like napkins of food from various places just saved. And the bread they bring to the table.
Yeah.
My mom, my parents took it home and she's like,
Mom
Dad's going to eat it before bed. He likes it before bed. And I'm like, it's going to be stale. Like, why the fuck are you transporting food everywhere?
I understand the embarrassment aspect of it. I would never take like a basket of bread and put in my purse. My mom has done that before. She puts it in her purse. It drives me nuts. It's embarrassing.
I don't know why.
Shouldn't
be embarrassed. You guys need to be not embarrassed by these things. Like, we're just trying to eat good food and save food that could have been wasted.
But you're going to
But
eat
why are you
food
embarrassed?
later.
Like, the waiter is not like, oh my God, they put the bread in her purse.
I don't know. I don't know. I know I shouldn't be that way because we should save the food and all, but only if you're going to eat the food. Because sometimes people wrap it up and then just end up throwing it out. It's like, why don't you just leave it there?
My dad asked for his chicken to go. And I go, Dad, when are you going to eat that? Like, we're going to go back to the hotel room. We're going to go to bed. We're going to wake up in the morning. We're going to have breakfast. And then we're going to drive back to LA. Like, when are you eating this chicken?
I get
in a
that.
box?
When you're at a hotel, it doesn't always make sense.
So
Did he eat it before bed, though?
He literally ate it on the ride home.
Well, there we go. So why are you embarrassed?
Because it's so weird. It's so annoying.
I don't know. I just think
Sorry, guys. I'm a big non-food waster.
I know. I just
No,
think
I'm into. I
just think it's
appreciate the not
stinky.
saving. Anyways, okay. So back to the topic at hand.
Okay,
I'm so excited.
The topic was inspired by this. Well, I had many teacher crushes, as did Lauren, and Naz apparently went to a school where there was no hot teachers.
No, there were what I've told you guys. I was getting tutored by a chemistry teacher in my high school.
Tutors don't count. Oh, he was a chemistry teacher at the
No,
school?
he was a chemistry teacher in
Okay.
my high school, but he wasn't mine. I had another chemistry teacher that I did not love, and everyone was jealous that he was tutoring me. And then we actually had a ceramic.
I don't know.
Rare.
You guys, I guess this is true. I guess this
The
is
double
a fetish.
standard is
it's
real.
a little bit of a fetish of mine.
Right? Isn't the double
What?
standard kind of real? Or maybe
do you
not.
mean?
I guess it is just a fetish. Like if a guy was being tutored by the hot teacher, we would be rare.
Yeah.
And okay, I guess it's not double
I'm just
standard.
kind of excited for her. That's why I meowed.
The thing is what we need to go behind the psychology of why, because this is also a fantasy. People role play in
So true.
bed.
Yeah,
With, why is this
Unattainable.
so sexy to
It's supposed to be.
everyone?
It's supposed to be unattainable.
I
And
think
if you
I
get
think
it,
it's more,
then it's.
I think it's more because it's forbidden.
That's
That's
what
what I'm saying. It's unattainable. Oh, sorry.
Forbidden.
Yeah, I guess that
Forbidden's
makes
a better word.
Yeah.
Well, this podcast is proof that it is attainable.
Okay. Yeah. So forbidden. Thank you for using the correct word.
I got a message from a woman yesterday. She just was like, I find this to be disgusting that you're even asking this question because you're making it seem normal. I'm like, well, we got a lot of submissions. So obviously it's kind of normal.
And no, but that's a good. I'm glad you bring that up because at first, even when Ashley brought it up, I was like, I don't know. So everyone is legal, right?
So everybody, we requested stories only from people who got with their teacher once they were 18 or older. So there you go, guys. I know people may have issues about it being a superior versus a pupil, but listen, these are all consensual stories of 18 plus people. Now listen, I'll tell you a little story about my the teacher fantasy that I had. I just remember vividly still to this day, oh my God, it's scary that it's oh my gosh, what is it? 16 years later, 18 years later. I remember just so vividly being in my English class first day of high school. And my teacher, we'll call him Mr. F, walked in and I was like, fuck my life. I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I'm going to be so nervous in this
So
class.
awkward.
This guy is is so hot. And then he was married at the time. And then midway through the year, he got divorced. He was only 24, guys.
Wow.
I was
That's
14.
so
So yeah, I was
crazy.
young. So freshman year young. But he was 24. That is so long ago for us.
I have a question. Do you think 24 meant something different mentally, maturity wise, back in the day than it does now? Why do I feel
No, I actually
you don't think so?
No. He was married, but we knew he was married really young. So you guys, I was just so taken. We had this, but there was the things that make you think that you're soulmates as a kid. He was
liked
obsessed with
American
American Idol.
So it was love.
He lived and
You were
breathed
meant to
American
be.
Idol. He played Elton John during school. There were things like that.
Soulmates,
And I was
soulmates.
like, this guy, I was like, he has the personality that I have, but he'll never be able to see it because I'm so shy around him.
I actually
Anyway.
have a teacher story. I never told you guys this.
No, are we just going to share our own stories?
Well, really quick, I had a hot teacher freshman year of high school who ended up moving to LA, I think to act. And then I went to college. I always thought he was cute, but obviously, nothing bad ever happened. No weirdness. He was just my teacher. But I remember when I moved to LA, we were Facebook friends and Facebook was still popping off, in 2011, 2012. And so he was like, we should totally meet up or whatever. And I was like, I'd love that. And now I'm an adult. I've graduated college. And so part of me is like, oh, I wonder what he looks like now. I always thought he was kind of cute. Of course, we meet up and he's with his girlfriend in
Oh,
Santa
that's
Monica.
right. Yes.
That was so ridiculous.
And I'm like, of course.
Like, he obviously should have prefaced that his girlfriend was coming.
No, guys, what? There was never. He should not have. It's not like.
No,
it's not like there was ever any feeling or tension. It was just. I thought it was cute.
But even if someone else is coming, you should say someone else is coming.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree.
If you guys are experiencing relationship issues and you don't think it's something that you can work out amongst yourself or amongst you and your partner, well, there is a service for that, and it's amazing, and it's something we talk about almost every single week. It's BetterHelp. So BetterHelp is professional counseling, and it's online. So you can video chat or text message a counselor anytime. You can schedule the video or the phone sessions. You get timely and thoughtful responses, so you're not waiting forever to get like the advice of a therapist, and you're never having to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room.
What's really awesome about BetterHelp is that it is online, and I think people who would normally maybe be intimidated by therapy just because, you know, you're driving to sit across from someone else, you're like awkwardly waiting in a waiting room. Now that most of the world has gone virtual in the past year, it kind of makes it less scary, if that makes sense. BetterHelp is just, I'm obsessed with it because when I am not using Dr. Mike, I need to connect to someone right away. Like when I'm in distress, I need to talk to someone right away. And you can start communicating with someone in under 24 hours. Again, all without ever having to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. And in fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they're actually recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states.
The best part, I think, about BetterHelp is that it's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available to those who qualify. And the service is available for clients worldwide, and they have therapists that are experts in depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping, trauma, anger, family conflicts, LGBTQ matters, grief, self-esteem. Anything you want to talk about, counselors are available. Everything is confidential, convenient, professional, and affordable. If you guys want to start living a healthier life today, as a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/getit. Join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's betterhelp, HELP.com/getit.
Okay, I got to zip through my story real quick.
Zip
first.
through.
I'm so sorry. So then, like, I had to request to have him the next year because he moved up to 10th grade English. So had him again that year. Really felt like so bonded. Then I remember. So then he left school to go back to grad school. Lauren's laughing at me right now.
So bonded.
So
He's my teacher again.
I just remember. He showed up at our high school graduation. It was the first time I saw him in like a year because he would come and visit sometimes, but. And I was just like, this is the time, you know? I'm graduated, I'm 18, it's going to happen, right? But I was still like very scared of relationships, right? So like we avoided it at all costs, except for throughout
avoiding
my
attachment style.
Exactly. Throughout my entire college experience, I like was like, doesn't matter if I'm not dating anyone else because I know I'm going to marry this guy. Like I just know it. So ridiculous. Lauren's face right now is like a pure judgment. So I just had to rip the Band-Aid off. We kept in touch through email throughout like everything, honestly, because he like wrote my college recommendation and all that. I don't know how I even...
He wrote your college recommendation?
Yeah, you know how you had to get recommendations from 2 teachers?
Yeah, well, we know why you asked him to write it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I also had him for 2 years, and I was like smart in his classes. So... I was 22. It was my 22nd birthday, spring break. I asked him to meet up in real life with my like best friend who also had a serious crush on him. So we were just like, and she was in my class with him. So we were just like, let's like go like reminisce. I really tried to like play it off like that. Mm-hmm. But then of course he shows up. He looks older. He has sandwich crumbs in his beard that he's now grown. He's now grown this big beard, and like he's eating with his mouth open and getting like tuna fish in his beard. And I'm like 4 years removed from seeing him, And I'm just like, this is a whole different person than I imagined in my head. I'm like, I think I'm better than this. And he was being sketchy.
I think I'm better than tuna in a beard.
He was being sketchy as hell, like about like what he was up to these days. Like he was teaching at a school, but like he was like in between. It was like very weird. Find out a couple days later that he is actually having an affair with, or a flirtation, an intense flirtation with a 16-year-old student, and he was under examination from the county.
He's a registered sex offender now.
Now he's a registered sex offender.
Ashley,
So he never like
going to take that turn.
And so then when I found that out, I was like, no.
Disgusting.
But when I mean no, it was because he was actually making advances, and he was like, come on, meet out with me. Yeah, he was like, meet up with me with one beer, like just one night out. It's okay. Like, and I'm like, I'm not interested anymore. But also I was scared. But he was like, he kept texting me. He was like, come on, let's go out right after that lunch. And
That's crazy.
And I was like, no, I'm not into you anymore.
Well, see, this is why that girl on Facebook was so against stuff. That's
Yeah,
terrible.
well,
That's
I mean,
Sure, but like I also have like the sense of like, okay, he's a sex offender now, so not interested.
right, of course. But
And
it's
I was
different
legal.
It's different getting together after you
I was
graduate, but like a
22.
16-year-old.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But him with the 16-year-old,
Oh,
like
right.
that is an abuse of power.
Oh,
and I
of
think
course.
that's why
Yeah.
people.
Of course.
It's a very fine line.
And you know what's funny? He emailed me. The last time I heard from him, he emailed me right before Chris Soules' season when he saw me on the promos. And he said, I love The Bachelor. Can't wait to watch you.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did you ever talk to him after that?
No.
Damn. Tuna in the
know.
beard.
But I really thought he was the one up until 22.
When I fell out of love with my big, it was because he was eating a powdered donut. It's just something about them eating something gross just will really turn you off.
You're just like,
that's right, the
ew.
butter donut.
All right, well, we have
Okay,
our
let's
first
get
caller
it.
on the
Yeah.
line right now.
Yeah.
Ash.
I feel like I didn't do that justice because I had like so many feelings. I just want you guys to know I had so many feelings. All right. Okay. All right, let's get her on. I basically gave producer Courtney all the stories that I wanted to have highlighted, featured on this podcast, but I don't know which girl is which right now. So I'm just going to like
Let them tell
the tale, and we have no idea, all three of us, where the story's going. So we're listening
And everyone's
just like you
remaining anonymous. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think there's some people that don't need to stay anonymous if they don't want to.
All right.
But we will call her caller number one. Hello, caller number one. What's your teacher story?
Okay, so, all right. So I'll start off with when I had him, which was my freshman year of high school.
Had him as a teacher.
I had him as a teacher when I was in high school at my freshman year. He and I were, like, always, like, flirty towards each other. And I think it's just been a thing of mine, but I've always been attracted to, like, way older guys. God knows why.
How way older was he?
Well, okay, so I was, 14, and he was, at that time, like, 34.
Oh,
like, 20
okay,
years
so way
older
different
me.
than Mr.
Wow.
F's 24. 20
Yeah,
years.
so-
We're talking 20 years.
Yeah, so it's actually, our age difference is actually 22 years to be exact. I'm just kind of dialing it down, so I don't look as bad as I am coming out to be. But anyway, I was always, like, super attracted to him. I always was, like, super flirty in class. I remember I even made my guidance counselor give me his study hall at the
Oh my
study
God, that's
hall
what I did
teacher.
with Mr. F.
And literally, like, I think he also had, like, a little thing for me, but not in a creepy way. He would always send, like, every student to the library, and it would always end up being me and him in the class alone, like, just talking to each other for, like, 45 minutes the entire time. And then I would have him for, like, period 5, and then on period 7, I'd had him again for my history class.
Okay.
So I would see him multiple times a day, and I loved him. And then the next year, my sophomore year, he and I, we kept in contact, obviously, because he was still a teacher at my school. And then when I graduated high school, he, like, told me to keep in touch. And I was like, yeah, I mean, sure, go for it. Like, I'll keep in touch. And then one time he reached out to me when I was in college, and he was like, he emailed me from his student, like, his teacher email, and he emails me, and he goes, haha, look what I just found from, like, years ago. Look at this email that you sent me back then. And the email was like, I just found out I had a D in the class. Is there anything I can do for extra credit? But I didn't mean it, like, in, like, that way. I literally meant, like, can I do any extra credit?
I had a D in the class.
Literally, that's what the email said. Like, it was like, hi, Mr. Smith. I just found out I have a D in the class. Is there anything I can do for extra credit? So I was like, oh, haha, like, it must be so funny for you to, like, look back at those emails, blah, blah, blah. And then he, like, told me to go, visit him at the school, so I did. And
wait, how old are you now?
Just, like, I was in college already. I was, like, 20, maybe 19. I was 20, actually, 20. And then I would talk to him here and there, and we would always talk via email. Like, I never had his phone number. I never had anything else. I just had his fucking email. And then when I turned 21, which was in December of 2019, I want to say, yeah. I'm only 23. He asked me out to go for a beer with him, and I was like, sure, like, where do you want to go? And he's like, somewhere secluded. And I'm like, okay. So we went out, and he was like, it's so weird to see you, like, drinking. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, how have you been? How's life? Blah, blah, blah. And we kept on going out in, like, those months. And then last year...
Well, wait, did you make out? Did you kiss during these dates?
Okay, so... all right. So there's this night that we go to this dive bar, and it's just, like, this middle-of-nowhere dive bar. And he and I are just, like, drinking. He had a beer, probably, like, an IPA. I had, like, vodka soda, and I had him pour like, extra vodka. So I was, like, really nervous.
Yeah.
And then I suggested that we take a shot. Have you guys ever had a baby Guinness shot?
No. Well, that sounds familiar, though.
Okay, well, you should probably try it. It's really good. Just if you ever go to a bar, just ask for a baby Guinness.
Okay. Oh, no.
After we take that shot, he and I are like, okay, like, we're going to go home. And I'm like, okay, like, it was nice to see you, blah, blah. And I'm driving behind him just because it's, like, part of my going home way. And I'm like, I call him, and I'm like, pull over to the parking lot. And he's like, okay. So he pulls over to the parking lot and parks his car. And then I jump in his car, I jump on his lap, and I just straight up make out with him.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
Whoa. Wait. I have a question, because you said he was 36 when you were 14, so how old was
like
he when you were 20?
Now.
Well, he's 22 years older than me, so I'm 23. He's 45 now.
Whoa.
But that was when he was, 43? I know, I'm telling you, like, I have a thing for older guys. I don't know why.
Is he still hot at this point? Like, is he, like, actually hot, or did you always just think he was hot?
He is hot. No, he's fucking hot. I mean, he has, like, ocean blue eyes. He's gorgeous.
Are we talking about the same guy? It could be.
Ashley, like,
no.
are you...
I don't know. My teacher, like, made the exact same moves as this guy did. And he has ocean blue eyes.
Wait, so are you with your teacher now? Like, whatever came from it?
Okay, so then in June of this past year, in 2020, I moved into my own apartment. And at this point, he already had my number, and we would, like, communicate via text message and whatever, like, not weird anymore. So then I like, texted him, and I was like, oh, by the way, like, I moved into my own apartment. Like, you should definitely come see it. Like, it would be awesome for you to come see it, blah, blah, blah. He's like, absolutely. The school that I went to happens to be very close to where I live now. So he's like, oh, you live, like, this close? Like, I'll just be there, like, right after work, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, like, I get home from work at this certain hour, blah, blah, blah. And then he comes over and brings me 2 bottles of wine. And he's like, this is a, like, housewarming gift. And I'm like, oh, how thoughtful, thanks. But then he pours the entire bottle of wine into one cup and then another bottle of wine into the other cup. So we literally finished 2 bottles of wine together. And at that point, you know what it led to, like, obviously.
Yeah.
So it happened, and we stay in contact. I actually talked to him yesterday. He came over a week ago. He brought me over a bottle of wine again, and we just talked.
Is that code word for, like, whenever he brings me a bottle of wine, we hook up?
No, because he actually was there just to hang out and talk, and, like, we have, like, a good time together, and we talk about life, and it's not awkward or weird.
Has he ever been in a relationship while you guys were talking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a proud thing of mine, but yes. Yeah.
Wait, so you guys are still hooking up now?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I literally texted him yesterday, and he was like, let's connect next week and find a time for us to get together.
All right.
Okay.
So it turns in from were you a freshman? Did you say freshman?
Yeah.
Wow. So from a freshman having a crush to a 20-something-year-old woman having a hookup.
What's interesting for me is to think of this guy and looking at you grow up and thinking that's just a little bit creepy.
It's a little
he
creepy.
saw you as a 14-year-old, and he probably found you attractive.
He probably
at 14.
did.
Well,
That's
this is what I was going to say to you guys. This is like where I'm like, like when he sent you the extra credit email, you know?
That was his window.
But it just, it's not even that. It just makes me think like all of us like innocent women like emailing teachers for extra credit, and like who knows what they're actually thinking. Like this is like a real thing.
It's so
you know?
awkward.
She emailed him about that.
No,
that
I'm
was
saying
when
what
I was-
his thoughts were behind it. 'Cause
Yes,
I
that
know,
is creepy.
I
I
know.
know.
Or inappropriate,
Yeah.
you know? It is
Yeah.
inappropriate at the time.
I mean,
For sure.
yeah, but I don't think he probably thought it, but obviously he wasn't going to be like, oh, you want to do extra credit and go do that. Like, no, God, no.
Yeah.
He would never do that. He's a really nice guy. Like, I don't want to make him sound so bad because I get it. I was 14 and now it's like 10 years later. And yeah, he did see me like grow up in a sense, but it's kind of, I don't want to be like weird, but I've looked the same since I was in 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I have not changed. If I showed you guys a picture of me when I was like 10, you'd be like, holy shit, she just looks like she's wearing makeup now.
Yeah.
Wait, you're so lucky. I looked like I was like living under a bridge when I was in
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want
high
to.
school.
I don't want to villainize him, but I also like don't want to praise him. I just kind of want to like analyze the
just-
relationship because I have been a 14-year-old hooking up with a 30-something-year-old, so I understand.
You were 14 hooking up with a 30-year-old?
Yeah, so it's not
Okay,
good.
you weren't 14. You were 16. Not that makes it much better.
Oh, I'm sorry. I started texting him when I was 14.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
yeah,
it's all
he
very
and I-
creepy.
No, he and I never, ever had any sort of relationship at all when I was in high school. It was a straight up teacher-student relationship. I was just the one who was a little like, oh, hey,
Of course.
Brian, you know, like,
Yeah.
but it was obvious that he was like into it, like not in a creepy way, but like he liked the attention, I guess.
Yeah.
And not to mention, every freaking girl had a crush on this guy
Yeah.
because he was
Right.
just so hot. Like a guy in his mid-30s is like so attractive, I think, personally,
It's
you know?
peak usually.
So
yeah.
it's the peak. Yeah, it's the guy's peak and like they're mature and whatever. So like I just thought he was like so hot. I mean, he still is. And my friends find it really fucking weird, really creepy, really like they judge the hell out of me for it, but I really don't care.
Do you?
All right.
you?
Well, Emily, thank you so much for sharing your story. We really appreciate it. It was very entertaining.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Giving me the chance to share my story. Bye.
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 I think you guys, we should talk about like, okay, yes, we are only focusing on stories where the hookup or anything like that happened legally
After consent.
and consensually and all that. But yes, there is a creepiness about that whole like, did he look at her? Like, did these guys look at all of these girls in a sexual way?
We'll never know
before?
what
But
they
we
thought.
can't. We can't
but guys, I
accuse
think
them of it. We
no,
can't
but I think
accuse them
the
of it.
answer is clearly though, right?
No, I don't know. We don't know. It's not clearly, and
We
it's
can't say guilty until
Exactly.
proven innocent.
No, Lauren, no.
it's innocent
can't-
before proven guilty. So these guys
Yeah.
are innocent in my. You know, what are we going to do? Get in their brains and rewind like a decade to see what they were thinking about these girls? I don't know. All right, we got caller number 2 coming on. Hey, oh, she's connecting.
Connecting to audio.
She's waving frantically. Hello, caller number 2. Hi.
Hi.
Regale us with your tale, sweet lady.
Sweet lady.
So tell us how it started your relationship with your teacher.
Okay, So how it happened was I had eyes for him like immediately. And I was like, okay, like.
How old are you? What grade?
So it was college. It was my second year of college. I was 21. Mm-hmm. I'm now 27, so it's been a few years. But I went to his class, and like we like kept looking at each other, like making eye contact, like that good eye contact. I was like, all right. So I left class, and then he was talking about how he worked for like a Lee Brice concert. And I'm like a big country fan. So I was like, oh my God. So after class, I went up to him and I was like, hey, can you score me tickets for that concert? He's like, I can't score you tickets, but I work backstage so I can get you, you know, whatever I can. So after class the one day, he's like, come to my office. And he got me like Lee Brice's guitar pick and his set list. And I was like, all right, done. So then
he's just like American Idol, guys.
Yes.
So then he made the initiative. He was like, you want to go on a date? And I was like, all right, sure. Like, not.
Wait a second. Is this your real professor or is this a teacher assistant?
No, this was like my professor.
And you are currently in his class and he said, let's go on a date?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yes. Continue.
Wait, when was this?
So this was my second year of college.
Got it.
Second year.
Okay.
Yep.
Continue.
So we went on the date. I went to his house. We met up. And then he took me to like a guitar shop, which, whatever. I hated guitars. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'll go. But he loved guitar.
You just hate guitar. Wait, why do you hate guitar?
Why do you hate guitar?
No. I shouldn't say I hate guitars. No. I shouldn't say I hate guitars, but it was like, that was like a weird first.
You don't have an interest in them. Okay.
Yeah,
who wants to go to Guitar Center if you're not a musician?
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't know.
I'm not trying to look at amps on our first date.
Like, I was like, oh, like, I thought we were going out for ice cream. I didn't know we were going to a guitar shop.
Yeah.
So then afterwards, he was like, you want to come back to my house, and, like, look at all my guitars. And I was like, okay, sure. And then we actually ended up hooking up that day afterwards. And then I was like, no, we can't do this. He was like, no, we can't do this. But then
That's what you said after the deed?
Yes. I was like, we can't do this. Like, you're my teacher. I can't do this. Like, it was a whole Lifetime movie production.
That's what I'm thinking. He said, fuck this job is what he said.
Pretty much, yeah. So then afterwards, we, like, stopped talking, and then I was still in his class, so we still saw each other. And then we started Snapchatting each other. He was like, but I like you. So then we started going out, like, in public. He started because I was like, all right, I have, like, a fascination about him. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's, like, the sneaking around. I don't know if it's because, like, he's older than me. But I was very fascinated by him. I don't know why. But then we started going out, like, public. Like, we started meeting up after class. We were going to, like, local bars. Like,
now, let me ask this. This would have been completely kosher if you were not in his class, right? Like,
correct.
According to the school? Yeah. Okay. So you should have just dropped the class.
Well, no, not if you're not in his class. I don't think any teacher... I mean, I guess it depends on the protocols of the school, right? Yeah. But I don't think any teacher could be with any student no matter what class they're in, right?
Really? In a college environment? If
of
you're
course not.
If you're not in their class, like, what if they're a whole different department that you never go into? Why would that matter?
I mean, I'm not in college anymore, but I would assume they don't want all the teachers hooking up with all the students, if you know what I mean.
Okay, well, caller number 2, how does this end up? You guys are like dating.
So I pictured it as dating. Like, we were going out, we were going to dinner, we were going to bars. He even took me, like, we went to a water park for the weekend. I was spending nights at his house.
Do you live in Florida?
I do not. I live in Pennsylvania.
Okay, water park is such a Florida thing.
Indoor water parks in Pennsylvania.
Whoa, really?
They do. They are awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, a water park date with a guy? That sounds fun, kind of.
It was so much fun. Like, we had the best time ever. Like, we just drank, we hung out, we did whatever. Like, it was so cool. And then we came back and we were going to the beach. Like, he took me the weekends. We were going to the beach and spending the weekends, like, at the beach. Like,
did you get an A in his class?
I did not. So that was like the one thing I said, like, I want to work hard for my grades. I do not want nothing. Like, don't give me A's. Don't give me, like, good grades. I want to work for my grades. Like, if I get a C on a test, give me a C. Don't give me an A. Like, and he
so how
totally
did that pan out?
Like, the relationship or my grades?
No, sorry, like the grades and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I took his class and I was very good in school. Like, I studied a lot. So I got a good grade in his school. I got a good grade. But it wasn't just I got a good grade in his class. Like, I did really well through college.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done shit in that class, quite honestly, but good for you.
No. Okay.
Girl,
all right. But then, so it sounds like you guys, like, are a real couple. Now, it sounds like he was also in the past. So how did it disintegrate?
Okay. So I got really drunk the one night and I was like, listen, I love you. Like, I really did fall in love with him.
Okay.
Like, it was super emotional. And I was like, listen, dude, I love you. Like, we hang out every weekend. We're hanging out after class. You're taking me out to dinner. We're going to beach trips. Like, you know, and he's like, I kind of love you too. But I think because he was a professor, it was like he knew his boundaries. But
kind of. Might as well just dive
I don't
in
know.
at this point.
Once you're having sex with him,
kind of not.
I think the "I love you" is not that big of a deal.
I feel like that would have been better if he'd said "I love you."
Exactly.
But I don't know. Like, it. So I said I love you, and then he kind of backed off a little bit, and I was like so head over heels with him. I'm like the crazy girl. I'm like texting him all the time, like, what did I do? What did I, you know, was it something I said? He was like, but I knew he loved me too. Like, you can tell.
Yeah.
Like, I felt
out.
pretty much, yeah. But it went on for like a year and a half.
Damn.
Okay,
and then he
moved.
He moved 5 hours away.
Oh, is that how it ended?
Up. That's how it pretty much ended. But we were still in contact. And I was still like reaching out to him, but I knew like he was posting people all over Facebook. So I knew like he was moving on from the relationship, but I didn't move on. Like, I was still super hurt about it, even though there was no title or relationship. Like, I think
that's the worst
as
kind.
a woman, exactly. As a woman, we catch the feelings. You know what I mean? Like, he showed me.
We know what you mean, girl.
Like, and it was a big
I'm trying to catch
shutdown.
flights, not feelings over here. Yeah.
I'm trying to catch those bills,
disease.
not feelings. Yes,
Well,
yes,
we're sorry that it took you so long to recover from it. All right. Well, caller number 2, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Wow. All right. Well, very interesting.
Put in the next one.
Let's get our next caller on.
All right.
All right, guys, we have Blair on the line. I know Blair because she was in Kinky Boots on Broadway. And when I blasted out that we were doing this podcast theme, she messaged me and well, she told me the conclusion of her teacher story. So, Blair, regale us with your tale.
Sure. So, hi, everyone. I am married. Hi. I'm married with 2 kids, and I married my high school teacher.
Whoa, that's wild.
Crazy, right? It feels like so far away now and so like bizarre. We've been married for 7 years, over 7 years, and been together 13 years. So it's been like, it's been a long time. But so he was my choir teacher, my music teacher. I met him when I was 14.
How old was he?
He's 12 and a half years older than me. So when I was 14, he was, 26, almost 27. But we had a really bad relationship he taught me for 3 years because I was a choir, class team. So
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you hate guitars?
Do I hate guitars?
No.
Never mind.
Our previous caller just did
Inside
not like
joke.
guitars, so we're just tying it in.
Wait, so what instrument did you play?
It was
just
choir.
choir is
Singing.
voice.
Oh, choir. Sorry. God.
Singing.
It's not even 10 a.m. where I am, guys. I'm sorry.
Totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it was singing. And so it was freshman and sophomore year. We did not get along at all. I was a quote unquote behavioral problem. I had a friend of mine in the class with me and we were just the two of us together, just were bad news. So we had a really bad relationship. Yeah. And then my junior year, I started, my girlfriend left choir and I was by myself and I kind of just started focusing a little more and doing better work. And I got some leadership roles. And so I started kind of respecting him as a teacher. He started respecting me more as a student. We at least got along. Then my senior year, I switched schools to go to a performing arts school. And so he wasn't my teacher anymore, but he still worked at the school that I was doing some of my academics at. And that's the year where we actually started having a connection. And I had just turned 18 and I was graduating in a few months. And we were actually performing together. I was singing and he was accompanying me. And he wasn't my teacher anymore, but he still taught in the school that, I had gone to in the mornings. And so we waited and I asked him on a date about 2.5 weeks after I graduated high school. And I knew I had to be the one to ask because I knew that he couldn't, what if I had said no? What the hell are you talking about? So I made the first move to make it less awkward. We went out for dinner and the rest is history. We stayed together.
Whoa, a lesson in making the first move.
There you go.
My God. The fact that you guys were like performing together makes me have butterflies.
It was very
That's probably where like the feelings really like solidified.
So like you saw him look in your eyes as you were singing, we're like, he likes me.
Oh yeah, I knew. Yeah. We both knew we could we never really talked about it, but it was just kind of there. We knew when it was right, it was going to happen. And it did.
How crazy that you guys didn't like each other the first 2 years.
No, more than didn't like hated. Like it was going to.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes
That's an even scarier lesson to people. If I'm like, this guy really this guy hates
really
me, I can turn
annoying.
this around in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Wow.
curb your bad behavior and maybe he'll start to respect you. No, I'm kidding.
Oh man. Wow,
that makes
what a
me
story.
feel better that you guys like kind of hate each other. Therefore, he couldn't really like
He wasn't
thinking of you in that light as you're like a 16-year-old.
Yeah, the reason exactly what Lauren said because I get a little uncomfortable when I'm like, oh, these teachers are attracted to you when you're younger.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Which is it's weird.
There's a lot of weird stuff around it. So I know I have a daughter now, and would I want her to date and marry her teacher? Obviously not. Like that is not my goal for her in life.
Right.
Yeah. Are you you're obviously gonna tell her how you guys met one day? Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
It was all pretty, kosher. Like,
She hasn't asked. I mean, we were very open about it. Our wedding, one of the first lines in our wedding was, Blair and Adam met and fell in love in high school.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's very open. She'll, I'm sure she'll ask eventually, but she's only 5, so we have a little bit of time.
Aww.
Were you attracted to him when you hated him? Like, did you No, not
Did other girls like have a crush on him that you knew of because he was a younger teacher?
Not really. No. It was just more, I mean, if they did, we didn't talk about it, but it was, when we got together, it was very much an emotional connection first, more than anything. And all the physicality, obviously, because it couldn't come at the beginning, came, later on.
Wow.
Yeah.
It really evolved
I love
perfectly.
That story.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It was so wild.
Yeah, we love it. I mean, we joke about it now, and it's like, and he, works at the same school that we met in, all these years later. I think
no way.
He's on his like 22nd or 23rd year there. So yeah.
Wow.
That's so
good.
cute.
Yeah,
that'd be so crazy to go back into that choir room and like sit in that seat.
Do you do
Yeah.
that?
I try not to. I try and avoid it at all costs. It does feel eerie and weird when I do, because all those kind of emotions and feelings come rushing back. But of course I do, to support him for a concert or something. Luckily I haven't had to go back for a while because of COVID. So,
right. That's so weird. I picture you sitting in, do you guys remember those like plastic yellow chairs with 2 holes in it and like the steel legs?
Yep.
Like why?
Ours
Where
were
did
blue,
that chair
not yellow.
come from?
Yeah, ours were blue.
Yes,
ours were different colors, but yeah.
That's so Florida to have different colors.
I know. It really is.
You would have yellow.
I know. That's so true.
All right. Well, Blair, thank you so much for telling your story. It was really one that made me smile.
Of course. Yeah, it's good to see you. And it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
Of course. Bye.
All right, guys. Now we have our last caller, Elena, on the line. Elena, tell us how you got together with your teacher.
Okay, so a few years
all
ago,
the details.
Yes.
All the feels, okay?
So it started when I decided to move out of my parents' house on Long Island and I moved to New York City. I decided that I thought it would be fun to take a Hebrew class because I actually already speak Hebrew, but I'm not at like native perfect level or anything. But I thought it would be fun just to kind of like practice and force myself to, learn some new words, brush up on my grammar. So one night I just decided to Google like Hebrew classes NYC and searched around for a few classes, found one that I thought looked good. And it happened to be really close to my old job at the time. So I was like, okay, this one looks good, and signed up. And then I thought, I was like, maybe there'll be some cute Jewish guys in the class. That would be a plus.
Always a thought in my head.
I know, right? I mean, why not? So I go to the first class, and I really wasn't thinking like who the teacher would be. I figured it would be someone like older, I don't know. I was more concerned with like who the students maybe would be. But I walked into the first class, laid eyes on the teacher, who I saw was not an older person. It was someone around my age, which was 26 at the time. And I literally just fell in love at first sight. Like I just had this like feeling, this connection. I didn't know anything about him. Obviously, I didn't know his name, his age, if he was single, anything. But it was love at first sight. And I remember walking to find a seat in the class. I was like, if I can get this guy to date me, I'm going to marry him one day. I was just sure. I don't know. This never happened to me before in my life. It was just this weird feeling. Ashley, I'm sure you can relate.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I'm just sitting back and just smiling so big right now.
I was going to say, Ashley's smile is beaming right now. It's the cutest thing.
I love these stories.
So the class, it was an 11-week class. So I realized shortly after that, like, he was getting to the classroom early every week. So I was making sure I was getting to the class early every week. That way I can, like, try to get to know him, flirt with him. I made sure hair was done, makeup was done, had my best outfits, picked out for the class, anything to try to get his attention.
Did you make sure that he was single before you fell more in love with him?
Yeah, so I learned that from like getting to class early and stuff. I did come to learn that he was single, and he was only a year older than me. So I was like, okay, this is perfect.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, this is working out so far.
Right.
So I had a plan. Like, I was like, okay, this is too good to be true. I have to like explore this. But I was like, I'm obviously not going to like ask him out or anything like while the class is going on. I was like, after the 11 weeks is up, I'll shoot him an email, like with my number, or maybe I'll ask him out. I don't know. But I have to pursue it because I would so regret it if I didn't. Because I wasn't going to send it while class was going on. If he said no, I would have been mortified and never
Oh my
showed my
God,
face
Tara,
back in
drop
class.
it. You don't need that.
Exactly. So the 11 weeks goes by. And I was like, okay, I'll give it maybe, a couple of days before I email him my number. But it turns out I didn't have to wait any days to do it because he emailed me. I love he emailed me the day after class ended.
He was not worried about looking extra or desperate or anything. He didn't wait even a couple days.
He was planning as well.
Yeah. So the next day I get this email.
Planning as well.
Yep. So the email said, home, like the subject said homework, but in Hebrew. And like the body of the text just said, text me in Hebrew with his number. And I was
Stop
like,
it. I'm deceased.
Oh my God.
No,
Did you
this
die?
Oh my God. What the
die?
cutest thing I've ever heard.
Deceased is the absolutely correct word to use for this moment.
To text me?
Yeah, it really is, because this stuff never happens to me. Like, I'm not this person. So I was just like, is this really happening, like, to me? You know?
So when you guys hung out, like, was it just as magical as you hoped it'd be?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. So like we started talking when he then asked me out on our first date. Our first date was 4 hours over dinner. It was amazing. Like just, talking more, getting to know each other more. And so we continued to date, and here we are now. We've been married almost 4 years and have a 2-year-old son.
Oh my God. What a
I love that we're ending on this great note.
I know. I almost didn't. I didn't do it on purpose, but in my head, hers was the last story that I read, and so it felt like a really positive conclusion.
Oh my God.
This is best case scenario, obviously.
Did you screenshot the email and have it at like your wedding?
I didn't actually, no.
You got to find that email.
I know. I still have it, of course.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and I
sweet.
emailed the owner of the company that the class was run through. I emailed the owner of the company before our wedding, so when we were still engaged, and I just wrote to him and I was like, thank you so much for starting this company, like obviously, because I was like, that's how I met my husband. If you didn't start this company, I never would have found you guys. I never would have found him, and here we are getting married. And he wrote back to me and was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you so much for sending. So
I'm going to Google.
And my sister read that email at my wedding.
Oh, I'm going to Google Hebrew classes NYC after this. I'll come back and report and let everyone know how it goes. I'm just kidding, obviously.
Did you guys... Okay, so... Wait, I had a good question. Now I forget it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, tell us about the engagement story, because we have a few minutes here.
The engagement story is, so I went out to see Wicked on Broadway with a friend of mine. And I came back and he was texting me. He was like, oh, hey, my brother came over. They had just gone to dinner with their parents. He was like, oh, my brother gave me a ride back to our apartment. We were living together at the time. He was like, yeah, my brother dropped me off and he's here hanging out for a little bit. So we'll see you soon. I was like, okay, see you soon. So I got home and I was just hanging out with them, for a little bit. And then all of a sudden he starts bringing up past dates. Like our first date was March 25th, which actually crazy enough. So next week. So this is 7 years together next week.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you. He starts bringing up dates like March 25th. And then that day it was September 6th. And then he's like, yeah. And what's September 6th? I was like, nothing. It's today. And then all of a sudden he just comes over, produces a ring out of his pocket, comes over, kneels down on one knee and asks me to marry him in Hebrew first and then in English. Well, his brother was there filming the whole thing. I didn't know that he was filming.
Yeah. So that was my question that I forgot. Yeah. Do you speak fluent Hebrew now?
So my Hebrew has improved. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
well, she did. She just went on, to improve her linguistics.
Yes, to get it better. Yeah. And I should really be speaking more. I'm pretty bad at that, but I definitely do understand even better because he and his whole family, they only speak Hebrew to each other. I mean, they all speak English, but to each other, they only speak Hebrew and they know I understand. So it's only gotten better over the years. And our son too, I mean, he's bilingual. We decided I was going to speak to him in English and he speaks to him only in Hebrew.
So
I love that.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, teach us how to say goodbye in Hebrew then.
Oh, you just say shalom.
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 All right, shalom, and thank you.
Bye, Elena.
Yeah, thank you guys
Thanks so much for sharing that with us.
Of course, of course.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right, guys, that's our podcast for today. Hope you had some smiles. We love you very much.
Thank you for listening. Subscribe. Tell your friends about it.
Tell your friends about our podcast.
Share
please.
it, please. And follow us on Instagram at I Don't Get a Podcast.
I Don't Get a Podcast.
Bye.
Bye.
If you want to be the most interesting person at the cocktail party, well, hop on over and listen to the Brain Candy podcast.
Our award-winning content will have you laughing while you're learning.
We read all the best articles, books, and studies and keep up with new TV shows, documentaries, and pop culture. And then we cram it all into 2 shows a week.
Conspiracy theories, cannibal rabbits, unsolved mysteries, the history of the Walkman. There's something for everyone.
The Brain Candy podcast. Find our link in the show notes.
Or simply search for the Brain Candy podcast on your podcast app.
I don't get it.
Podcast.